Hello and welcome to Sanctuary of the Soul Fall Edition. I am so glad you are here. In a few minutes, I'm going to connect to my guides, the librarians. The librarians are the keepers of the wisdom for the souls who have and are walking the earth. And for those of you who are Sanctuary of the Soul members, you also have the opportunity to ask librarians questions specific to you, to your soul path, to your soul journey. So, what I'm going to do right now is start with the general reading for the next 3-4 months. So, for the season of fall. And then I'm going to go into the specifics of the personal questions. And for this month, since this is the first month, I am going to share this because a few people have said, I don't know what that means. What do you mean a reading? And then from this season on, this will be exclusive content to Sanctuary of the Soul members. So let's tune in a little bit. Fall. The fall of 2024. This season is actually going to bring the fall of a lot of different things. This is the fall of a lot of institutions, of relationships, of ways of being. What the librarians want you to know is not to be afraid by those words, not to be afraid or intimidated or dreading what to come, because this is the fall of things that have been teetering for far too long. This is the fall of institutions, relationships, even some beings that have been holding on until the time is right. The analogy that they want to show you is when somebody is dying, when a human is dying, and oftentimes they will hold on until an event happens. That's why so often somebody will wait until their birthday and then pass away afterwards, or they'll wait until get through the Christmas season and then pass away afterwards. People hold on and wait until the time is right in order to fall away from their body. That's an interesting way to put it, fall away from their body. So to have many relationships, institutions, the word institutions keeps coming in strongly. People have been waiting to fall until the time is right, and the time is now right. So instead of trepidation, instead of angst, instead of sadness, there will be grief, but there won't be grief. And I'll come back to that. But instead of this trepidation, what the librarians are asking you to lean into is celebration and excitement. Because the sanctuary of the soul is focused on a lot of people who are involved in relationships, in changing relationships, and the potential of relationships falling away. What they speak to is the excitement, to remind you of the excitement of, for many of you, not for all of you, but to remind you of the excitement for when you got married, for when you got engaged, for all of the preparation that was going on. And they want to say that you never grieved the fall of your single years. So some of you had some thoughts around that, yes, but most people did not grieve the fall of their single status. They were too enamored. They were too enamored with the process of getting married. They were too enamored with the process of getting married. That's interesting. They were excited about what was to come. They were so ready for it and so leaning into what was next that very few of you grieved the loss of your single status and grieved the loss of your non-married state. That's the analogy that they are showing me and that they would like you to draw from. Moving into this fall, which is the fall, instead of grieving the loss of that which is falling, to lean into the excitement for that which is to come. And yes, they're telling me that so many of you will be thinking, but what I knew was that I was moving into a relationship with somebody that I loved. I was moving into a phase of life that I was looking forward to. I was looking forward to married life, houses, animals, children, all of these different things. So I knew what was to come and I was excited about it. And in this instance, I don't know what is to come and I don't have anything to look forward to. And what the librarians say in response to that is sometimes secrets are best worth keeping. And that's the exact phrase. Sometimes secrets are best worth keeping. You are going to be moving into something that is a lot of fun, that is celebratory, that is a wonderful new phase of life. And if they were to tell you too much of what was to come, you would find fault with it. That's interesting. You would find fault with it. You would think it out too much. You would question too much. And like some surprises, they're saying, especially like when you take a child to Disneyland, sometimes you don't tell them too far in advance. Sometimes you just let that surprise, you let them in on the surprise as it is about to manifest, so they don't have the chance to get too anxious or too stressed or to ask too many questions about it. And they're saying that's what this is about. Over these next 6 months, this is going to carry into winter too, but especially over the fall, there's going to be the falling away of things. And as they fall, what they're saying will help you and will help your heart is to notice the fall and to turn to, they're saying, turn to the light, turn to what is coming in, because as the darkness falls, the light will come in. And earlier they talked about grief because it was like, well, what about the grief and what about the process around this? Is there some grief? There's grief. No, there's grief before thinking about what will be and what will happen. There is grief before. And then on the backside of things, when there is a look back, the grief will go to further back than you might imagine. The grief will go to things that you didn't know way back when, not to this moment of fall. So, what they're assuring you is through this fall season, you are okay, you will be okay. And a lot will change, but to turn to the light and to let things fall away. To let things fall away. Because it will be joyous and because it is bringing some things in. So they're saying, go ahead and have a little bit of that grief now, knowing anticipatory grief is what they're saying. You can have some anticipatory grief now, but be certain that in the moment you will not be feeling that grief. So it's okay to grieve some of it now, to grieve some of the changes and some of the losses now. I can't get the exact word. Grieve some of those losses now. And the future grief is the same way that you might have future grief looking back on your single years and saying, wow, I never mourned the loss of being single. So a lot of falling away. Grief now, maybe grief looking back saying, oh, wow, I didn't really realize this. But in the moment, things will be moving. The phrase is moving right along. In the moment, things will be moving right along. It's not that this is a particularly rushed time, but it is not a slow time either. The pacing of this fall is consistently onward. This fall, you are moving consistently onward with things falling, with things changing. There's something also about a lot of weather. If it there's some warning about some weather incidences and some weather delays and some weather changes and some weather patterns that will also keep you a little bit distracted and moving right along. There's just so much in this moving right along. So in in these next few weeks, they're asking you to rest in these next few weeks, to have joy in these next few weeks. Not because, oh, it's coming, nothing like that, but to have some joy and to relax and to be in the sun, to dance in the sun, enjoy these next few weeks. Enjoy and joy. They're showing me that again and saying, yes, it is full sun, it is full enjoyment. These are, oh, that's nice. They're showing me like 4 steps up. This fall, as things fall away, it allows you to step these 4 steps up. And sometimes it is a climb to take these 4 steps up, and that you want to break, like as in hiking up a hill. Sometimes you want to stop, and that's you're trudging along, you're moving through the fall. But these are 4 consistent steps up. They're saying it's not like there will be such a huge jump and such a huge shift that it will be head spinning. Nobody wants their head spinning, but this is a consistent elevation of where you are now to where you will be for winter. And they said, we're not going to get into too much of what's going on in the winter because there's a lot to come there too. There's a lot of stirring the pot in the winter. But for right now, let things fall away, let things clean out, take these 4 steps up, celebrate in the sun, take this next higher level, for the responsibility that you will shoulder is greater. And while greater responsibility, yes, it can be work, it can absolutely be work, but there's also the joy of the creation around this responsibility. It's a responsibility. I love all these analogies. Again, it's like the analogy of stepping into motherhood, into parenting. Is it harder? Holy heck, yes. Is it more responsibility? Holy heck, yes. But is it something that you want to step into? Holy heck, yes. And most of the time you are thrilled with it. And most of the time you are enjoying it. Yes, there are those moments where you think, what have I gotten myself into? And I need out. But for the most part, this is something that you enjoy. So there's a enjoy your childless single years, for everything is about to change. And it's you're in those quote unquote childless single years right now. And you will be elevating and stepping into something new because things will be falling away at more of a consistent pace than you might like, but it won't be too rushed. It's just that this is a lean in and it is a constant step up. So that's what's coming, and a distraction of weather events that keep you distracted and to keep you too busy. So chai tea, I don't know why chai tea is coming in. The flavor of chai tea, the caffeination of chai tea. There's something with chai tea. If you like chai tea, drink chai tea. There is something around that flavor that is also. Oh, okay. Thank you. They're saying don't forget to enjoy some of the fall flavor. That's what the chai tea. I'm like, what is that chai tea? I don't understand it. They're saying enjoy the flavor of fall. That's like the flavor of fall. Yes, you're stepping into this, but don't forget to enjoy the season of fall, the flavor of fall. And that's what's coming in. So that, no, I'm not. Hang on. When you feel cleansing by salt baths. Take cleansing salt baths. If you are near the ocean and it's a salty body of water, get in the salty body of water. Be sure to cleanse yourself with salt baths. That will be important to keep you fresh for this season. And they're saying the things that are falling away can remain in your energy field. So you want to make sure you are cleansing your energy field. So when things fall away, in the outer world, they also fall away from you energetically. Otherwise, you're holding the pattern of what was, and you're going along with a holographic energy field of an experience that no longer exists. And it will continue to impact you as long as it is in your energy field. Salt baths, they're saying, will be very helpful. Yes, I asked them if all the traditional things, connecting to nature, dancing, they also said singing. They said singing. Yes, dancing, nature, salt baths, but also singing. Because singing, they're saying, is that pure vibration that will cut through this energy grid that surrounds you. That's the word, this energy grid that surrounds you. So keep singing. That'll be fun. Okay. They're also saying for those of you who enjoy crystals, cleanse your crystals, salt baths as well, and using those crystals to, they say so many of you who enjoy crystals use the crystals to create like the crystalline grids and the energy fields in your house, and that's wonderful. But be sure to change those up, because the mode and the methods of protection will be different because of this fall, because of the things, the changing paradigms, the changing institutions, the changing relationships, the changing, oh, the planetary energy grid is shifting this fall too. Okay, that makes perfect sense. So everything needs to shift around that. The entire planet is undergoing, like, it's not just a 15-degree shift, but it's undergoing the shift too. So all the things that we have used to anchor in positive energy before need to be tweaked as well, because the planetary grid is also changing as well as our personal grid. So like they're saying, if the planetary grid rotates and shifts around 15%, and then our human grid shifts around 3% here, and then yours is 7% here, and yours is 12%, that it's all slightly different. So everything needs to be jiggled back into that place where it can elevate. And that's part of the reason why you're not going to feel grief and loss around some of these changes, because it shifts and everything shifts into place, and you take those 4 steps up, and then it's elevated, and then everything feels exponentially better and clearer. And they're showing me it's almost like a humming sound in the mind, where all of a sudden, no, and that's part of that singing too, that frequency, that pure notes of singing. So that's what this fall is about. I am so excited for this fall. um wow, yeah, that's a good one. Okay, some of the personal questions that came in, I'm just debating if I should do all of them here or if I should do them individually. They said to go ahead and do one here so you can understand what that is about and what that is like. And they told me which one to do. And then for the rest of them, they said, go ahead and do those individually, or yeah, in a collective group with those, but I can do one here. Okay, the personal one. Wow. Again, there's some similarities in do not grieve the loss of. Um, do not grieve the loss of this relationship, because what you learned for this relationship has made you more powerful than you are willing to believe right now. There's, oh, you're not going to want to hear this. There's so much more that you are being asked to do. And that's the part you're not going to want to hear. You're being asked to do so much more right now. And you're saying, your soul will be saying, as you're hearing this, you're going to be like, but I'm not ready, but I'm not ready. And what the librarians want to assure you is you are. And we have told you how you're going to be the leader in your family. They have already told you, and you already know what your path is. And they're saying, and yet you still deny it in certain ways based on this human want of what you think you want. But what you think you want, the person that you think you want, the relationship that you think you want, the pairing up that you think you want is part of the old paradigm. The old paradigm that you have broken away from, and you know you've broken away from it. You know you've broken away. The old paradigm from this relationship, it's like the last vestiges of, and this is what I thought my life was going to be like, and this is what I now need to move into. And they're telling me it's an arc over the top. It's an arc over the top. And you were traveling that arc. And here's what you thought your path was. You thought it was this linear journey, and you thought you would move from this and into this and over here into this phase of life, into this. The loss of a lot of the relationships in your life, because I know you've lost a lot of relationships, not just romantic stuff, but friendships, family relationships. You thought you were moving through life. Oh, I'm lighting up. You thought you were moving through life on a linear path. You thought it was point A to B to C to D. You're on an arc. This arc is an elevated arc. When you rise up from all of these people who are doing the linear path, that's what you are perceiving as loss. So you're thinking, I'm losing my friends, I'm losing my family, I'm losing my loved ones, I'm losing all these relationships. And you feel like, why am I losing all of this? It's because they are on the linear path and you are no longer on that linear path. You are on an arc. Oh, sweet soul, you were on a big arc. And yeah, that's a lot of loss, because here's your whole life down here and that hurts. And what they're saying is these people will meet you at the end of the ride. These people are going to meet you at the end of the ride. And some of them are going to meet you at the end of the ride. Yes, they're saying they can't, if this is not like a guarantee that they're all going to move their little linear path and all meet you there with smiling, happy faces and open arms. That's not what they're saying. But what they're saying is those who are destined to walk this path with you are still with you. It's just that they are walking the path here and you are walking the path here. They are still with you. And there is so much comfort and there is so much peace and there is so much love in that, to know that they are still walking with you. It's just that you're on the arc and they're on this path. So they're still with you. You're not losing them. You're not doing anything wrong. I know. It's the classic many paths, there are many paths up the mountain, many paths to the top. This is your journey. And you're soaring, which is why you're elevated. You're soaring. And you wouldn't have made it down here. You wouldn't have made it if you just continued on that linear path. Because I know you so well and I know your story so well and I know these people. What I'm trying to do is ask, well, what about her? Well, what about him? Well, what about them? Well, what about, and what they keep telling me is that's not what matters. It doesn't matter who, because if they tell you too much information about who, you're going to want to de-escalate from your elevated path and you're going to want to push them along. For you do love to push. You do love to push, and you're going to want to descend and you're going to want to push them along. And that's not your path. Your path is up here. So, what they're saying is you can alight and you can look and you can coax them and you can pull them along this way to a certain extent, because, oh, wow. They're saying there is the pulling through. You have to elevate to turn around to see who you can pull through and who you can't. And who you can and who you can't pull through is of no, it doesn't mean anything about you. It means everything about them and what they're willing to lean into and what they're not willing to accept. Yeah, some of them are going to come right along and others of them aren't. And that's okay. Either way is fine. Just know you're on the flight path and they're on the ground. Oh, you're on the flight path. This was your, this is the flying. This is the flight path. I get it. Totally makes sense. They're on the ground and you're on the flight path. So they don't expect you to feel a lot of comfort over that because of the energy that is still in the old paradigm, but that's not what I want. But what they're saying in your case, the knowledge up here is going to help you find peace with that. And also, those who will be attaching to you in the very near future and elevating you up and creating things that you hadn't even dreamed of. Because, thank you. What you're being tasked to do this fall is to dream anew, to dream fresh, to dream anew. All of your dreams started in childhood. You were given a vision in childhood of your life. You were given a vision in childhood of your life. And you found joy in that vision because that's what you do. You find joy in things and you bring so much happiness and levity to other people. If you were given that vision, you found joy in that vision. And you thought a lot of that joy was your own because that's what you wanted. But they're saying you found joy in it, but it's not your vision and it's not what you wanted. You found the joy because you were given that vision. It is time to create your own vision. And that's going to feel a little hard. And it's been feeling hard. And they said, please look at what you have done. Please look at how much you have accomplished. Please create a new vision with everything. You have created a new vision. They're saying with like 9/12. That's a funny number. They said you've created 9/12 of a good vision. So you need 3 more 12ths of your vision to create. So please create those last 3/12ths of the vision that was you. And to look back on this childhood vision and to realize it was not all yours, it was given to you. Oh, does that land? Okay, I'm going to see if there's anything else on your personal questions. No, that's good. I'm going to cut. They're saying that's all for now. There's definitely more, but it would be too much. It would be too much at this moment because of the things that you're processing. Okay, so that is, whew, hang on, I need a Kleenex. Sorry, sometimes I cry. No, not sorry. I'm not sorry. Sometimes I cry because the intensity of the energy that comes in is too much for my body to contain. And the energy as it comes in feels really, really good, but it's really, really, really powerful. And it's just sometimes your body can't take it all. And it just has to come out because it's too much and it's very positive. So there are always tears of relief and tears of joy. It's just that sometimes my body can't hold them all. So that's why sometimes I cry as I channel because it's just too much energy and this little body can't do it all. So that's what's going on with that. That is your fall reading for Sanctuary of the Soul and an example of what an individual reading will look like. So if you're interested, hop in anytime. I'm releasing the meditation and the dancing and the ceremony around the 22nd because that is fall equinox. So enjoy. I hope this is helpful. Listen to it a few times. Take notes if you'd like to. It lands differently every single time you hear it. And yes, if you want a Sanctuary of the Soul, you can do it for a season for 230, or you can do it all year for 888. Just send me a message and I will get you all signed up. Bye for now.